All right, sword friends, sword geeks out there. This is kind of a part 2 of ninja swords. I have a new one I wanted to show you, and just to compare it to some of the others that I have in my collection. This is just a few. We just sold 2 of them last week. This is a new sword that I got. It's just a white, kind of Sho Kosugi style Chokuto straight blade. It's not a traditional ninjato or shinobi katana. I have one of those down further, but this is the one I wanted to highlight today because you've never seen this one before. All white, as you can see. Sukaito's all white here. Beautiful samegawa there. Kind of aluminum alloy fittings and the kashira, etc. Big, beautiful white tsuba guard made of iron. Beautifully balanced straight chokuto blade, razor sharp, kind of a small ko-style kasaki there. Beautiful hamon line, clay tempered, just a beautiful sword. I don't know the length, probably 26, 27 inches of the nagasa here. What I love about these swords is the perfect balance on them, because the tang is so long down here that the weight of the blade is right there. That's the balance point. Rather than being way out here, it's far back. So this is a great sword for leverage, stabbing, even cutting. Even though it's not curved, it'll still cut through anything. It's a really beautiful sword, and these retail for about $350 or somewhere around there, 400, somewhere in that area. These are beautiful swords here. So this is the white Sho Kosugi style ninjato. I'll put it down here. I have my little sword pillow. Look at that beautiful design there. Habaki, these are all typically the same, probably brass or copper here, but I just love the look of this. Why? Because I grew up with this man, Sho Kosugi. This is a signed autograph I got from him, and this is more realistic of what a shinobi katana would have looked like. It probably would have looked like almost a wakizashi, a short sword. It would have been small, curved, probably, although there were chokuto straight blades all over in Japanese history because they came down from China. But you can see here he's got 2 wakizashi there in this particular photo, which isn't realistic, you know, with the shinobi shozoku and stuff like that. But this is what we grew up with as our depiction of the ninja 40-something years ago. So this is what attracted me to start collecting my swords, and he was the man. He was the Bruce Lee of the 1980s, and he's still around. I just saw him in an interview last week. I don't know how old he is, almost 80, but this was the man. So this was a sword that he carried, probably more like this black one here. Let me put this one away. Be careful because it's super sharp. This is a very, very tight saya here. Look how tight that is, which is good. I want these to be tight because you don't want a loose saya. You want a tight one so that the more you draw it, it'll stretch out more. And of course, with humidity and stuff like that, these swords will continue to get looser as you use them. But this one's brand new, never cut, hardly been drawn. And this is for sale right now on our eBay page, which I'll put the link in below. This is more of a Sho Kosugi sword in his style, which is the black long handle. It doesn't have the same manuki. Matter of fact, it has no manuki here, double pegged. Has more of a long tie up here. All black. Same blade as the other one, as far as I know, same length. Differential tempered, as you can see the hamon. So the blade is super, super sharp. I don't know, again, the length of that one, but this is the more traditional Sho Kosugi black version. So you have the black and the white. The white one here has about an inch longer handle. Everything else is pretty much the same, except the saya on the white one is pointed, and the saya on the black one here is not. Other than that, now look at the length of the saya on the black one. It's much longer here. So you could hide stuff down here. You could hide a secret message in the bottom of your saya. You could hide blinding powders in there, things like that. But as you can see, this one is much shorter. So that's the black Sho Kosugi style ninjato. I'm going to call it that. It's modern design. It's not technically historically accurate, but that's okay. It's still cool factor plus 10. This is more of a true shinobi katana. It would have looked like a katana. You would not want to stick out with these on the street, or if you're caught. You wouldn't want to look different than the other people around you. Remember that shinobi jitsu is a subset of samurai arts. Shinobi probably were samurai. They just had a different job title. They were intelligence gatherers. So you would have had a pretty standard sword. Now on night missions, no one knows, but obviously they could have had a shorter sword here. As you can see, this sword is curved. Beautiful hamon. I think this is T10 steel. Square guard, which wasn't unusual back then. There's all kinds of shapes and sizes of guards. And then the shorter handle here. This one has kind of a battle wrap on there, which is a bit unusual. But this probably would have been a more historically accurate shinobi katana here, because it looks like a katana. Here's another one. This has a super long sky handle here. This is probably 14, 15 inches. Tons of leverage. Interesting super guard here with the holes in the iron. Habaki's typical. This is an iaito. It's not sharp, although it looks sharp. So as you can see here, the blade is much shorter than the saya, so you could quick draw this in ei. This is kind of the Bujinkan style shinobi katana here, which I bought several years ago, and I use this for my training and practice because, again, it's not sharp. I love the sword. Again, well balanced, super fast draw. Excellent version of a ninja sword. This is an Edo period koe katana. Again, this would have looked more like a ninjato. Small. Look how small that is. Very small. This sword's a couple hundred years old. It has a beautiful tamahagane blade, and I'll show you a close-up of that. This one is also on our eBay page for sale, so I'm not going to handle this. Isn't that a beautiful short katana here? Look how small that is. It's almost a one-handed weapon. Of course, you could use it with two, but for me it overhangs too much. It's almost a wakizashi. It's a beautiful fuller here. So that is a small blade. Look how thin that blade is compared to the others. All handcrafted. It has a signature, a May signature. Beautiful fittings, silk wrap, super tight, higher quality, ray skin there. Just a absolute beautiful sword, but notice the size difference. Look how small that is compared to this giant here, modern sword. Beautiful little Edo period koe katana there. Here's a tachi. Tachi is much older. It predates the katana. This is a horseback sword, and they would be using these in battle as a, not even a secondary, a third weapon. You'd obviously have your bow and arrow, your spear, your yari, and then these would hang here with this ashi fitting here on your obi belt, and it would dangle with the blade down, and then you would be able to draw this on horseback. It was free floating, moving. Nasty sword, all metal fittings, almost twice the weight of a modern day katana here. Beautiful big beefy blade, strong, solid, sharp, thick, just massive, able to cut through certain things, to pierce holes in the armor. It has all the fittings on here. Just a hugely decorative sword of the old days of the Sengoku Jidai and even earlier periods here. And a lot of metal. Big heavy sword. Look at all those fittings on the saya. Absolutely beautiful. This is a decorative sword, although it's very sharp. Isn't that cool? Don't you just love looking at swords? I could do this all day. Look at this one. Massive odachi here. Look at the size of that handle. Look at that. It's got to be 15, 16 inches. I don't know, but it's huge. And I can tell there's the last peg. There's two pegs here. So the tang probably stops about here because it's quite top heavy. But look at the size of this blade. Wow. Has that kind of naginata style where it's thin and it gets thick and then thin again. And look at that. Just shinogi there is very, look how tapered that is. And look at the design, the shape. Look at the shape of that. And then look how wide and beefy that is down to the kasaki there for cutting. Talk about a hacking sword. Just a beautiful kind of field sword. Nodachi there. Nice habaki, simple suba. But again, comparing the size from this Tamahagane Edo period, look at the size difference between these. It's like mini-me and the giant daddy. So you can see how what I meant, this is like a wakizashi. This is like a battlefield sword. You wouldn't want to be carrying this around on the streets. Not very good. Put this one back carefully here. So as you can see, we have these big beefy swords. We have the tachi battlefield cavalry sword. You have the more curved short katana here, shinobi katana as it's labeled. You have the kind of kukishin bujinkan style sword here. Long handle, short blade for quick drawing. You have the Sho Kosugi modern design from the 1980s, which is actually, out of these, my favorites because childhood memories. Beautiful white ninjato here, straight chokoto blade, clay tempered, and then the big giant nodachi. So I wanted to show you this one today. Beautiful, beautiful specimen. And again, this one's for sale. This one is for sale on the website. Comment below if you have swords in your collection, or if you want to send photos to the dojo, you can send me photos. I'd love to see your collection, what you might have, if you have any antique swords like that one, or if you have modern collection like these. In a few weeks, I'm going to do another interview with RVA Katana, and we're going to get John on as well as Scott, and we're going to do a bunch of myths about the sword, and we're going to bust some myths about the steel and the designs of these and why some might be better than others, and just a lot of misconceptions that new people to the sword market or sword collecting have. There's always information to learn. None of us are perfect at knowing everything about these. My interest is, can I use them? Never mind categorizing them or what they look like or the details. I want to be able to use these suckers in a fight and on the battlefield or wherever, in a dark alley. So I'm all about the taijutsu behind these. I want to be able to use anything that someone puts in my hand. I don't ever want to be uncomfortable with a type of handle or blade or length or weight. I want to be comfortable with whatever anyone throws at me, and underneath that you have to have taijutsu underneath. And that's primarily what we practice here at the dojo, is taijutsu, to be able to use any type of weapon, short, long, battlefield range, modern, pistols, anything. So again, comment below, tell me what you have in your collection. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you all for watching, and you can find these also on the internet and various places. Just use Google as a search engine or whatever search engine you use, and you can find almost anything here for sale. If you do your research, it'll come up. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great day. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.